So where are we now after over 30 years of Reaganomics? It seems to be that we're in a state of unprecedented inequality. And Richard Wolff is with us. Take a look at this graph, which shows how income inequality has hurt the vast majority of American households, but has significantly helped the highest earners. And in this second graph, we see a similar effect, but instead of income, we're looking at how much wealth has been accumulated by the top 10% in comparison to the bottom 90% of Americans. So, Professor Wolff, what happens when so much money flows into the hands of so few, and what happens when they just hoard that wealth?
Well, there's a number of things that happen. First, let's recognize what these numbers show us. If it is true, as we said in the previous segment, that the years since Reagan, since 1980 more or less, are years of the revenge of those who never wanted the higher taxes on corporations and the rich, who never wanted the lessening of inequality that the 1930s and 40s and 50s represented, well, then we have to acknowledge that it worked, that their policies, the Reaganomics, that happened and everything that followed, did the job. We went back to a society at least as unequal as it was leading up to the Great Depression. And the goal, if it was indeed to make the rich richer and everybody else poorer, has in fact worked. But here are then the consequences. Number one, the richer the people are who sit at the top, the more of the wealth of our society is in a sense neutralized up there. These people who have all of the wealth concentrated in their hands, the way your graphs showed so clearly and dramatically, they are the ones who now decide what to do with it. If they were to decide to invest all of that money and build up capacity and hire people for jobs, we might all not be having this conversation. But they don't. And the reason they don't is simple. The way they got rich was by everybody else being deprived of all kinds of opportunities, being deprived of the extra income with which they could have made more purchases. So the irony is, as you make the rich richer, you diminish the incentive for them to invest that money because of the very inequality that you've created. It's as if you have created a monster like Frankenstein who then ends up undoing even the conditions of his own wealth. And that's the situation we have. Way too much wealth, and for the mass of people, a drying up of good jobs, a drying up of jobs with benefits, a drying up of all the economic activity that we did have when we didn't have this inequality, causing us to have this imbalance in the way our economy works.